is probably one of the most abundant, most beautiful things that I've ever manifested into my life. It really gets me emotional just like thinking about it and thinking how we are the creators. We can create anything we want. And that is just like what I want to portray. And hopefully you get something out of this. I want to go back to my childhood when I was a kid. So when I was a kid, I already had this psychic knowing, this knowledge that I already knew about myself is that the person that I was meant to be with was not going to be from this country. And when I grew up and I was interacting with the boys around me and I was interacting with the guys around me, I thought, oh my gosh, there really is nobody that I resonate with. And I never lowered my standards. I never said, okay, I'm going to go for this guy or this guy. I just never did it. And I never could get myself to be with anybody. And so I thought to myself, okay, maybe I'm just going to be alone. And I said to God, I said to the creator, okay, I'm going to just be alone. I'm totally fine with that. I would rather be alone than just be with some random guy. And I really thought to myself, like, wow, I'm just going to be alone for the rest of my life because I don't really see anybody that matches up with me, that matches my ideal, that I connect with whatsoever. So high school came and went by. I was kind of feeling sorry for myself. Like, I didn't have any people around me that I could resonate with or any guys that I really liked, I should say. And I went through university, and during university, I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't feel good about myself. Like, there's no guys that are paying attention to me. The only guys that do pay attention to me are weird guys, and the rest of them are just afraid of me, which is like honestly a bonus. And I'm kind of glad that I continue to have that sort of energy, but I just started to feel bad for myself, and I should have not felt bad for myself, but that's just the way life works. So, towards the last year of my university, I found a guy, and he was not from this country. And I started to be infatuated with him. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the guy that I was looking for. This is the guy that should be in my life. He's everything, he's perfect. And I feel totally bad having these feelings towards this one boy, but I started to realize that I was disillusioned. I was getting a little bit obsessed, and I wasn't really obsessed with the boy. I was obsessed with the idea of him, which is what I think a lot of people get themselves into is they just become obsessed with the idea of this person. They don't really know this person on a deeper level. So for 1 year, I was able to be around him, and I was very obsessed, and I was very illusioned, having a lot of illusions about this guy, and I shouldn't have done that. And I wasn't reading the signs. There was another girl that was his friend. Even though he liked me, he hung around her, and I was just not going to see that they were going to end up together. They were going to be something, and it was just kind of weird for me to think that I was going to end up with this boy. So, university ends, and I don't see this boy again. So, that's pretty common. You don't see this person again. I start going crazy a little bit. I was really depressed. I became a first year teacher, and I was really depressed, and I wasn't doing good. The school that I was at was not supportive, and it just really took a toll on my mental and physical life. But I really wanted to manifest an interaction with this boy, and I really did not know what manifestation was. I just knew I had this desire. I really want to see this boy again. I really want to see this boy again. So I went through my manifestation without knowing that I did, but I started to visualize and feel in my body. Yes, this is how I want to meet him. I really want to see him again. I just want to talk to him one last time. Please let me see him. And I could actually feel in my body, and I knew in my heart, in my soul, that I was going to see him again. And it didn't happen until for a very long time that I did see him. And I was just like walking one day through the school, walking on my path, and then all of a sudden I saw him and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, what the fuck? How did that happen?" Like my visualizations, my sensations in my body, and my knowledge of me knowing that I was going to see him again, I attracted an interaction with him again. Did it go well? No, it didn't go well. I was feeling butterflies in my stomach, and that is always a warning sign that you don't feel comfortable with this person. This person is not the love of your life if you're feeling butterflies, you're feeling weird, you're feeling like you have to overexert and you have to please them in some sort of way, or you're just thinking, wow, they're so hot, they're so sexy. Like, there's just like so many signs that will tell you, like, this person is not yours. And I was just acting weird around him. I didn't even really say goodbye to him. I just turned around and left because I was feeling really uncomfortable. So maybe like 1 or 2 years go by, or like 1 or 2 years or 1.5 years go by. And I was obsessed with him. So it continued to be even more vigorous. The sensations in my bodies were telling me that I was feeling so much pain because I was obsessing over this guy. I really wanted him, but the desire was basically killing me, and I couldn't do anything about it because I didn't have a way to contact him or be with this person. And just like having so many thoughts, so many negative thoughts about yourself and the way that your life is going, I don't know if anybody has experienced, but it just feels like you're dying. It feels like there's so much pain in your body. You can feel it in different places in your body, especially the stomach area, especially everywhere. It just felt like there was pain everywhere. So I was still a teacher. I wasn't the best because I was pouring so much love into my students, but I wasn't pouring any love into myself. I was feeling bad for myself. I looked terrible and I felt terrible, and there like nothing. Like the pain was just constantly every single day. And I would try to talk to God, be like, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to get out of this spiral? How am I going to get out of thinking about this boy? Like, when is he going to come into my life? And I started to see signs. So I started to see dragonflies, I started to see butterflies, I started to see images that were letting me know what was going to happen next. And they were just little signs of love, but I wasn't really fully taking them in. I wasn't understanding what was happening. And it just came to the point where I was so obsessed that I was going to switch careers so I could try to be with this boy. I was going to do everything I could to change my whole life to be with him, even though I didn't really know him that well. And one day, I don't know when it was, I just decided, you know what? I'm just gonna continue this spiral forever and ever, and I don't know what I'm going to do. But I decided, you know what? I want to manifest another thing. okay, because I knew that I could attract things into my life. So I told myself, you know what? I really want to manifest a language partner into my life because I need to stop paying for my Spanish classes and my Korean classes. It would just be really nice if I could just basically pay for my Korean classes because they were really expensive and I could stop having Spanish classes every single day. So I continued on my life and I wasn't feeling that good, very depressed and anxious, and it got to the point where it was Christmas time and I basically typed on a forum, hey, does anybody want to be a language partner with me? I speak English. And two guys came in, and one guy spoke Korean and one guy spoke Spanish. The guy that spoke Spanish, he was giving me creepy vibes, and the conversation basically ended in 15 minutes because my internet connection wasn't that good, and I was very lucky that that happened. And the Korean guy, I didn't speak that much Korean, so he was just like, whatever, I'm not going to talk to you again. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So I basically asked the creator directly, I really want a language exchange partner in Spanish so I can focus on my Korean. So I made action steps. I took action steps. And for 2 weeks, I decided, you know what? I'm not going to do any classes. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to relax for 2 weeks. And that's basically what I did. I relaxed for 2 weeks, and this boy came into my inbox on the language exchange in our website, and he said, do you want to be a partner? I said, sure. And I was thinking to myself, it was kind of weird that I thought this to myself, but I'm very keen into knowing what the message is, what the universe wants to send me. I was just like, okay, is this the boy that I was looking for? Is this perhaps the boy that I really wanted in my life, like my partner? And I had my first exchange with him. I knew he wasn't creepy. I knew that I was going to continue classes with him. But when I saw him, I was like, nah, this boy is not for me. This is not the love of my life whatsoever. So I continued on with my life. And as you guys know, the coronavirus happened and all of my classes turned to internet classes and everything just became being with yourself, being in solitary time. And because I was with myself so much and I was thinking such terrible thoughts, it came to the point where I felt so much freaking pain. And the pain that I felt was just constant because I was causing all this pain. I was having so many obsessive thoughts about this boy. I was having this desire that was basically killing me to the point where I was like, what the heck is going on? So for 3 months, I went through this, or for about 2 months, I should say, I went through this just being by myself. And it came to the point where I decided, you know what? I really need to stop and I really need to find a way to get rid of this pain. So I don't know what came over me, but I decided to meditate. I didn't really know it was meditation. I just went on YouTube and I looked for a guided meditation so I can try to feel a lot more better and releasing a lot of this stress. And guys, when I went through my first meditation, you could say that when I went through my first meditation, honestly, the quantum leaps that happened during that meditation was so expounding. It was beyond belief. And everything was released from my body. My whole body was purged of my pain. It was released of my past. And I thought to myself, wow, what is going on? And it was just a whole new experience because I met the God self. I met my higher self. I met the God self. Everything was purged from my body. Nothing that happened to me in the past mattered anymore. And that whole experience just really opened my eyes and gave me a new lease on in life. And I basically transformed into a new person. I know this doesn't happen for everybody, but I feel like the extremity, the polarity of my pain was so much that I was looking for such a big, huge release that the Creator, God, was like, you know what? Let's give you that huge release. Let's give you this ultimate purge. And I came to know myself. And when I got to know myself, I realized, wow, I'm just playing this character. And I'm not really this body. I'm not really Gerry. I don't really need external people. Everything is inside. Everything I honestly need is inside. And my past manifestation, my past attraction showed it to me because I was the one that was attracting experiences and people to myself. And I didn't realize it because it was all happening inside of me. And I was just kind of doing it naturally. So I became totally, completely anew. I felt completely brand new as a person, and I met my higher self, my God self, the spiritual side. I was no longer stuck in the matrix because when you are a matrix person, you're going to think, oh, I am this body, I am this name, I am this person. But when you realize that you are just the energy and consciousness that are keeping this body and this person and this personality alive, and you're the one that keeps the ideas and the past alive, you can just let it go. You can let go of so many things because you don't need to think, this is all that I am, because you are not all of this. This is not all of who you are. So I expanded as a person and I continued being a teacher. We eventually went back to school, or we eventually went back to online school, and I continued my language exchange. While I was talking to this boy online, I was really stressed out because I really wanted to do good. And he wasn't exactly a teacher, so you have to speak a lot more during language exchanges. But I just remember feeling, I am really stressed out, but I'm going to continue doing language exchanges with him. And whenever I woke up to who I was a lot more happier with him, and I was a lot more keen to talk to him. And it was really weird. Even though I was trying to manifest this other boy, this old past boy into my life, I was thinking to myself, wow, I really want to talk to my language speaking partner for longer. And I always felt like really sad when he would just say, okay, goodbye. And he would just end the conversation after 1 hour because I always felt this urge. I don't know why, but like to speak to him even longer. I felt like there was some sort of connection. So he obviously didn't want to talk to me for much longer, so I just continued teaching, trying to pour as much love as I could into myself. I was doing meditations, night meditations whenever I could. A lot of rituals to pour love into myself, and I was continuing to live on a new spectrum, a new dimension, a new expansion of my life, even though I was still thinking about this other boy. And it got to the point, it got to this point where for some reason my language exchange partner guy started to like me. And so he started to want to talk to me for longer. And then we started talking for two or three times out of the week. And then it got to the point where we started speaking to each other every single day. And I could start to tell that he really liked me and he was showing his affection to me, and I wasn't really showing anything back to him. I didn't tell him I like him because I truly didn't. I was just observing him. I was like, okay. But this weird feeling was like, wow, I really like talking to him. I'm going to continue talking to him. And he told me directly, like, hey, I like you. Um, I really want you to come visit my country. So his country was Colombia. And I said, okay, maybe I'll think about it. Maybe I'll think about it. And he said, I can be your tour guide. And I think for maybe the end of the year, I started to think to myself, wow, this boy is really cute. He's acting very cute and sweet to me. I didn't really know that I liked him, and I think it took until the next year for me to realize, oh my gosh, I like this boy. I have a feeling this is the boy that I was looking for. I just didn't know it was him. So the next year, we continued talking to each other, and I bought the plane tickets to Colombia, and I told him, I'm going to visit your country. I'm going to visit you, and we're going to go on this tour together. We're going to see different places in Colombia. And at this point, he was sending me like love songs. He was sending me so many songs, like basically expressing how he felt. And I just thought he was really cute. And I kind of knew at that point, you know what? I really love this boy. And I don't know how it happened, but incrementally, it just kind of happened. And I kind of felt more in tune with him, and every time we would have a conversation together, I would feel this warmth, I would feel this energy like coursing through my veins. And I eventually, during the summer, saw him, and when I saw him in the airport, it gave me this super weird feeling because I was already tired, I was already knocked out, I was on so many flights, and it was very terrible. The very last flight was the most terrible flight ever because it was just like bright lights like shining in my freaking face because they have those TVs and they always want to shine bright lights in your eyes. And when I saw him, he looked a lot more distinct and he looked a little bit more different. Like, I don't know how to say it, but he looked a lot more different. But I started to feel in my body this energy, and I felt this gut feeling in my stomach. Wow, I really think this is the guy for me. So we ended up in the back of a taxi, and I wasn't feeling good. Kind of like how I'm feeling right now. I don't know. My throat and everything, but I went to his house and I told him I don't want to eat anything. I just don't feel good. And he was just like super excited. I was there. I was in his country and we were going to go on this big trip for 3 months around Colombia. And the next day I woke up and I kind of started to feel better, like knowing, but having this new experience of being in a new country, everything is very distinct, everything is very different, especially if you're coming from the US to any other country. The US is just super unique. So whatever. At this point I just want to remind you guys that I did not tell him that I liked him, that I feel like you were the love of my life, whatever. I didn't tell him that you were the love of my life, so basically for maybe 2 weeks we were seeing local local places around his city, and I was just getting to know Colombia, getting to know everything around me, and I was trying to get closer to him, but I still hadn't revealed that, hey, I like you, I want to be with you. And it got to the final moments where my future boyfriend my future boyfriend basically told me, like, hey, you need to tell me. So you need to tell me if you like me or not. And I told him, okay, take me to a really nice place in nature where I can talk to you in silence. I can talk to you without anybody around us. And he took me to like the most magical place. There is a stream of water, there's a tree in front of us, this big tree, and you can just see the landscape of Colombia and the mountains and the city. And we just sat down on the hill, and I was looking down, and I confessed to him. I confessed to him in Spanish, and I didn't notice it, but he was crying as I was speaking to him and I was telling him how I felt. And when I got done speaking to him and I got done speaking to him, and we had a little kiss. Basically, after I got done talking to him and speaking to him, confessing to him, and we had a little kiss, a hummingbird flew by, and I kind of knew that this was the person for me. So my entire my entire manifestation story, or my entire love story, I should say, is basically showed me that loving yourself, being the number one person in your life, should always be the priority. And when I started to pour love into my life, when I started to pour more magic into my everyday life, being in the present moment, making sure that meditation and knowing the God self is the focus of everything. It is everything before anything else. There's nothing else unless you get to know yourself, unless you're bringing love into the spaces, into giving yourself rest and calm and peace, and then pouring that out into other people. That is when the magic really starts happening. So that is how I met my boyfriend. I'm sure you guys can guess like what happened is we basically went on this 3-month trip together around Colombia. A lot of magical things happened. We have a lot of photos together, and we became boyfriend and girlfriend. Maybe 2 or 3 days after that. And yeah, my whole life has basically changed, and it has changed for the better because I am living with him, and we are just attracting and manifesting more things into our life. And I just want to give this story out to the world as a testament that magic does exist. Magic does exist in this world. You are capable of magic. You are worthy of yourself. You're worthy of anything that you desire. And no matter how it comes into your life, no matter how you attract these things, if you're open to them, it's going to happen. And it's going to happen very fast. Alright, guys, I think I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for listening to my love story. Let me know what you guys think, what you guys got out of this video. And yeah, guys, I'm going to bring more stories and more magical things. So please subscribe, please leave a comment, or please let me know what you guys think. All right, peace.